Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Jagged Edge. It's Ian here, along with Chris.
That was a lot of energy.
I know. It's a good day. It's a good Saturday. I'm excited. Whoa!
There is a lot to talk about. That's for sure.
There is.
There was a meltdown this week.
Oh my God! Yeah. I a meltdown. I didn't even know was happening.
Oh no, that's why I'm here.
Yeah. Mind you, a dramatic meltdown too. So
yeah, there's a lot of talk within the video game and movie entertainment world about people running things, new people running things.
For sure.
So, and we talked about that today.
A lot of this, ongoing negotiations. The crazy part is, it's of course for a lot of stuff that we know is on the horizon, but we haven't seen yet, and we're not talking about maybe a My Little Ponies movie or something.
It's my favorite.
I knew it. We got some pretty big franchises involved here, so want to look right at this stuff. But right at the top of the list was welcome. Glad to see this. That's a hot spanking new Predator trailer.
A new The Predator trailer.
We've complained about this.
Yes.
Multiple times, especially for really missing that flavor that brings you into Predator. That has helped us enjoy the series. I mean, that's just something I just wasn't feeling in the first couple we watched. But this set a better mood, a better.
This is better.
Tone. Yeah, and
I would not say it's good,
right?
But I will say it's better.
And I was laughing because you showed this trailer to me before the show. I was like,
"You're like, ugh."
Yeah, because I didn't want to watch it at first, and then I did watch it. And I said, "Why did we see this at first?" And you're like, "Reshoots."
Yeah, I think maybe reshoots. Somebody sat down with someone else and said, "Yeah, people aren't liking this. Fix it." And maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. But this is better.
Yeah,
I'm more interested. I'm not hating it.
Same.
So I still don't like the whole idea of some kind of ridiculous evolved predator. You don't need that.
No. You don't.
We don't know the origin of this evolved predator thing, though, so it may be okay. It may be okay. That's the whole thing. I watch. It's like, maybe they're being smart, not showing us the best of the movie, or maybe they are.
Right.
And if they are, then holy shit. But if they aren't, then yay.
That'd be a welcome surprise. Wouldn't it? Yeah. So. Hopefully, I think the whole thing it comes down to, with me at least, is the feel of in a super hyper advanced hunter versus our conventional tech and everything.
I'm not a big fan of the direction this is going in, but this does look like it looks better.
Good deal.
That's the word, better. That's all I got for it. September 8th. They got a few more months to get it right.
All right, cool. Stay locked in on that. Also in the pipe, the Sonic movie. Now, okay, it's
been a while since we talked about this.
It has. It's been a while. We mentioned a number of shows ago that the Sonic the Hedgehog is getting a live action / CGI film, and there was still a lot on the board for that. No details, but we do know now that Jim Carrey is in negotiations to play Eggman. I think Jim Carrey would be great for this. He could definitely lend a lot to it. Whenever I think of him, I still think of Fire Marshal Bill from Living Color, or even more recent, of course, Dumb and Dumber. But awesome actor. I've always loved. He'd do great, but again, it's going to be reaching some sort of decision with Paramount eventually. Whether or not he gets it. Now, also, James Marsden, right? Yeah, James.
Something like that.
James Marsden. He played Cyclops in X-Men, and also Tika Sumpter are set to star in this film, along with Jeff Fowler, who's going to be the director. And this is going to be his very first time directing.
Yeah.
Too. So hey, I'm fine with that. Open slate. It's not like I look at Sonic the Hedgehog and say, well, okay, you've got to make this a Nolan film. You've got to do all these things. I have no idea. I don't know. I really don't know.
Here's the thing. Now, you're a big Sonic fan. I'm Sonic. I'm fine with Sonic. Whatever. Eggman from whatever I've seen him has been a very over the top, very comical, maniacal.
Yep.
villain, and Jim Carrey certainly has the range for something like that. It's been a long time since he's done something though. I mean, this is kind of if he's going to make his mark onto a mainstream film again, this is kind of the weird place to do it. But I mean, then again, that's Jim Carrey all over.
It is.
So, you said more Dumb and Dumber and other things. I think more, the range and being crazy. I think more like the Riddler.
Ah, no, good one.
That's where I'm kind of feeling, villain and being over the top. And isn't Eggman like a big fat guy?
He is. Okay, now here's the funny insider thing. He's got this big pot round belly, but I swear he's got like Usain Bolt legs. The guy can book.
Okay.
He has in the games he has outrun Sonic multiple times. Don't ask me.
Well, so I mean that I like Jim Carrey. I know there's a little bit of controversy around him, and I guess he's a bit of a pain in the ass behind the scenes and all that. But whatever. How much of a pain in the ass can you be in a Sonic movie? I don't know. The James Marsden, as I was saying before we started doing the show, hey, that guy was hot 20 years ago. Tika something, I couldn't recognize a single thing that she'd done. Right. I mean, here's the thing. This is so, and I think we talked about this last time we talked about last time we talked about this movie when we brought it up. Right. So this is going to be live action / CGI. So I'm getting kind of a Roger Rabbit feel, which is fine. But the games that were kind of based like that, weren't those almost universally panned?
Yeah, this is what I'm concerned about. My mind goes back to Sonic Unleashed. Okay, now I'm a longtime fan of the Sonic franchise in general, but I don't give it a pass for every game. I don't excuse everyone. And in the ones that did this, that had this the real world component mixed in a lot more, or you had this whole interaction with people, and then you had Sonic's friends and everything. It was always awkward. Always awkward. I think some of the best Sonic games, some of the best performing ones, were the ones that kind of veered away from that and just focused on Eggman schemes and anthropomorphic. That's it. And that's always where I imagined the Sonic series. So this is still awkward for me as a fan too. I'm kind of cringing up on the side here, but
I love the idea of bringing in a leading man who everybody knows, as long as he's not, because everybody knows James Marsden. He's just got that look.
Yeah, he does.
Like, you see him in movies, and you probably don't know his name. You say, "Oh, that's the guy. That guy. He did the thing." And Jim Carrey in opposite Sonic actually sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, the only person who should be outshining your main character, who should be and better be Sonic, is the villain.
Yep.
So I'm good with that, but overall I'm just, this is kind of a heavy lift for a first time director though.
It is. How do you take a beloved franchise and a character who's really been based in one medium and try to move him out of that home environment into something that people are going to enjoy in a kind of awkward landscape? That's tricky. That's really tricky to do, because I've always thought Sonic has clashed kind of poorly with real world stuff. I mean, you do that, and then you automatically get weird. Others have tried to make weird explanations and like retcons, like, oh, because of some radioactive accident, this is why some animals have these crazy powers on like this other side of the world. And why it's like, no, like,
go ahead.
Oh no. Like, I remember when I was growing up, when I played Sonic 1. The world of Morbius and everything, I really saw that as its own world, as its own planet that really didn't have anything to do with Earth. So, oh well.
Yeah, I've got three. I'm going to three different directions on this in my head. One, it's going to be really low budget, and it's just going to look really bad, and half the budget's going to be spent on Jim Carrey, if he takes it. I'm worried about that. The second one is that this is going to be Transformers all over, where these real life actors, these live action actors and all that, are going to take much more of a role than they should.
Right.
And in that those Sonic and Knuckles and Two Tails Yeah, I said Two Tails. Those should be the stars, and whatever other zany Sonic characters there are,
Right.
those should be the stars, and they won't be, and that worries me. Or this will, maybe they'll get a good mix. Movies like this they've been making movies like this for a little while now. They tend to come out with more success. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm apprehensive though, I would say.
Same. It's in the spirit of re-releases, kind of like Winnie the Pooh. That's about to get one. That's another kind of storybook, real-world clash that you have. But I don't know. Even that I could see working a little more because of the premise they have. But oh well.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. Cool. On the next up in the slate, that's Jared Leto. He's scheduled to play Morbius in the Sony spin-off movie. This was a report from Deadline. And they also made a report this week that he is going to be. This is going to be in the Sony Spider-Man universe. And we've been talking about the idea, of either a solo Morbius film or when we see him pop up. There's a pretty new director behind this one. That's Daniel Espinosa. I don't know any of the previous credits he did.
I don't know. But I like this pick. I think he's a perfect pick for Morbius.
Yeah. No, right on. I mean, Morbius is one that I look back and I've only ever seen him a couple of times. Now I remember when he popped up. Oh gosh, what was that? I think in Ultimate. That was a pretty good showing. And
I couldn't tell you anything about that one. I could tell you a bit about the main universe Morbius, but
cool.
He's moved a bit beyond Spider-Man. I understand why he was bunched up with the Spider-Man crowd. I get that, but he's moved on a bit from that. He's done a lot of stuff with Ghost Rider and Blade and such. He's a cool character. I mean, when they announced Morbius a little while ago, that's exciting to me. Jared Leto sounds perfect for this role, and he's the kind of guy who just throws himself in.
Oh yeah,
to the role he's playing, and I think that's a good pick, just like Tom Hardy is for Venom.
Yeah,
but it takes more than that. It takes more than your leading man, and I'm excited for this. I'm apprehensive because it's Sony.
Yeah,
and Venom's not looking so hot.
Not right now.
No, they need to release another trailer. I'm sure we'll get one more before October. Yeah, that's 4 months away, man. Almost
Not far
3.
At all. One thing always weirds me out. I've always thought Jared Leto looks so much like Tom Hiddleston. Like, and I always have to do a double take. So I'm like, oh wait, you mean Loki? No, you don't mean Loki. Okay, my bad. But no.
Yeah, no, I like this.
Good deal.
If Venom's good, then Sony's got something here.
Yeah.
If Venom's not good, it's DCEU for Sony.
Back to the drawing board, whatever comes of it. So.
It's just struggling with all these characters that people like. Some people may look at this and like using Spider-Man's role gallery as a place to make movies. I mean, when we talked about this, if they do it right, it could be great. Kind of an anti-hero universe with these characters that definitely aren't as well known as Spider-Man, but people know who they are. These characters have been around forever. Except for Silk, that announcement for Silk last week, that's dumb. But the rest of these I think they're great picks.
Yeah.
They're setting things up right, but then you see that first teaser trailer for Venom, that was bad.
Yeah.
And then we got the full trailer, and Venom looks okay so far. He looks a little underdone, but there's a lot of potential here. I'm more excited for this than I am most stuff, but we're just not going to know until we see this Venom movie how people should feel about who's behind this. All right, and
and of course not Spider-Man. Of course, a Venom without Spider-Man. That's a whole different story to tell.
That's the whole thing too. That's the whole thing as well. We got to see how that all works out.
All right. Well, one thing we do know it's working out. That's Marvel and /MCU, the upside, and we do have some news from that still. There was a pretty recent vid by Tom Holland. Love it. That the title for the next Spider-Man is going to be Spider-Man Far From Home, and this is supposed to take place mostly in Europe.
Yeah, and
Cool.
whatever space planet he's on right now,
Yeah, wherever he's at.
that he turned to dust.
So, man, I wonder how it's going to kick off. If he's going to kick off right on Titan, then we'll go from there.
Probably not. Probably
Oh.
not. It's kind of funny because he even mentioned Tom Holland even mentioned in the video. It's kind of funny that I'm talking about a sequel since I'm dead, but yeah, here I'm. He had a an iPad or something on him. And he flips it over real quick and shows Spider-Man Far From Home. He says he's reading the script and stuff. And
Oh, that's great. That's great.
yeah. So, but this is, I guess there's going to be some kind of school trip that goes to Europe or something. Mysterio is said to be the villain.
Cool. Cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I
he
think
could
there's
work
others
that.
to choose from, but that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, just how we've had, Electro in recent times and stuff like that. Mysterio still, he's on that old school palette,
Mm-hmm.
of villains that sort of work. And, another one that I want to see how they do a treatment on would be Craven, too.
Yeah. That if they switch him up maybe a little bit or not, maybe just keep him classic. Classic Craven is good too. He, from what I understand, he really put Spider-Man through the ringer on more than one occasion.
He did. He did. And I liked him because usually when he'd pop up, it was in regard to something else. Like, I remember one of his appearances I saw, there's some stuff happening with the Lizard at the same time, or or he's going after a certain bounty, and like Spider-Man just keeps like getting in his way. So he's usually not just outright maniacal for the sake of being maniacal. I mean, he's always driven. He's got a direct goal, and yeah, if he needs to, he will go through Spider-Man. So
And there's also been times when he's been hired directly to hunt Spider-Man.
exactly.
That's been a thing too. But yeah, no, Craven's he's not your typical villain. I'm out to do bad deeds. He's a hunter.
Right.
And
Right.
so yeah, he's got a bit more depth to him.
Yeah.
And we'll probably end up seeing more than one villain. So
Right.
there hasn't been one villain in a Spider-Man movie in 20 some years.
It's true. It's true. No, we always get thrown for a loop or so. So cool, man. I'm looking forward to finding out more. Of course, I will. My favorite superhero. Any Spidey news is good news for me. Oh man, Kevin Feige. He also mentioned the possibility a Power Pack movie be made at some point, but that's going to have more of a kind of like a family style focus than the rest of the MCU movies.
Do you know who Power Pack is?
I don't.
You
I'm
don't
out.
know who they are at all?
No, man, I'm out in this one. Tell me.
All right, Power Pack's been around for a while, since about the 80s, maybe even late 70s, kind of like Cloak and Dagger. It is more. Gosh, I don't remember a lot. They were in New Warriors quite a bit. They were around in the 90s. They made a go of it in the 90s. It didn't go very well. I think they were reserve members for the New Warriors back in the 90s run.
Cool.
They're kids. And I believe at some point, and it may not be the case now, or may not have always been the case, but I believe they're siblings.
Oh.
And this has, if you're thinking kind of a Captain Planet kind of vibe, it does have that. But it's definitely geared towards more of a younger audience. Some of them are really young, some of them are teens. I can't remember if this is a whole family affair with parents or not. But they're stronger together or something like that, and it's one of those. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
One of those kind of
yeah.
deals? Yeah. It's one of those kind of deals. They're all right. I mean, if you put them in the right environment, this could be a fun concept.
Cool.
I know at some point there was only like one or two of them, but I think the common number is 5. This is one of those things where I just didn't have enough time to look at all of this stuff today. But I'm good with this. If they, most, maybe even all MCU movies are PG-13.
Right.
But if they wanted to go PG with a trilogy or maybe a one shot, if a trilogy doesn't cut it, if they want to do a Power Pack and do something a little bit more family oriented, I get it. I understand why, and I think it's a
Sure.
smart idea.
Sure.
You set them up, and if it does well, then you've got a younger cast that you can, as Deadpool jokingly said in Deadpool 2, you can build a franchise around for 20 years.
Oh man. Amen to that.
Yeah, I'm for it. I mean, you probably haven't even seen pictures of this. Why don't you go ahead and just look up some images. Just Google Power Pack.
Well, now you got me on it.
Yeah, check that out real quick. They're all right. They stick them into everything every once in a while. Like here, you're looking at, they've had their own comic from time to time, but they stick them in Iron Man. Like I said, I knew of them mainly
So
from
I've seen them.
you've seen, yeah, everybody
Yeah,
sees it's like Cloak and Dagger, not quite as
yeah,
popular as Cloak and Dagger, but if you've read Marvel comics, like yeah, no, I've seen these guys.
yeah.
Yeah, they're fine.
Okay.
I probably won't be the biggest fan, but he went on to say in the interview that kind of similar to how Ant-Man has kind of taken on a little bit more of a universal role for more complete family friendly. That
It
Power
has.
Pack would be a good pick for that. And I agree. I everything. While it's PG-13, there's definitely more. I don't want to say mature, but more. I don't want to say adult themes either, but
Right.
these are not exactly these stories are not geared towards kids. All
Right.
right, Thanos snapping his finger and making half the universe disappear is not what. Yeah, that's you're just gonna make kids cry. That's what you're gonna do.
Oh man. No. Cool. Cool. Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm good with that.
On
Branch
the
out. I think we're going to see a lot of that phase 4 and 5 as we go through the next several years here. We're going to see a lot more branching out. I'm fine with it as long as they do it right. We're going to talk a little bit later on about a franchise that's done it wrong. Yeah, no, I'm good with it.
cool. I do want.
I trust MCU.
They can do it. If
Yeah.
anyone can, it's in good hands. Awesome. And I do want to save some room for who did it wrong. I want to keep going through this MCU
Yeah.
stuff. Also, our announcements nominate, go ahead and issue an apology. Because I remember on the very show that we first saw our very first shot, Captain Marvel, I was a little concerned. Little concerned. You were asking me, hey, what do you think of the costume that we see so far? How do you like the look? And I know this was before they'd finished adding everything on, the effects and stuff. But I was instantly concerned. I said, I hope that this keeps that Captain Marvel feel, because it was kind of like a green and black
Yeah.
looking suit that we saw up
Which
front.
has been a Captain Marvel suit.
That has. You're right. You're absolutely right. But with what they've done now, you know what? I'm sorry, Marvel. This looks great. We had some new concept art come out for Captain Marvel, also for Avengers 4. And this was released this week by AJ Designs.
AJ Designs, who's saying that they're legit. They look pretty legit,
They
but
do.
even if they're not, they look pretty awesome.
They do.
Captain
do.
Marvel looks fine. It's exactly what I figured it would look like.
Yep.
The two that stand out, I guess I should say three. Some people are making a big deal of the fact that Captain America shaves his beard. Derp. Of course he does. Captain America shouldn't have a beard until they probably won't ever do the story, which sucks. I think I brought it up once before, which is the storyline where Captain America turns into a werewolf,
Whoa.
which is awesome.
That sounds
Because
awesome.
because he's a werewolf in his Captain America suit.
That's even better.
He's all ripped and he's got the shield, and that's the only other time he should have a beard. But no, if you can see him on there, two things that are kind of standing out. The Hulk is wearing some kind of suit, which from what I read, and by the way, spoilers. This suit is supposed to be flexible enough to withstand him turning into the Hulk. So he wears.
He needs that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, eventually, right?
Right.
I mean,
Well,
going
right
through a
now.
lot of clothes.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're even as a kid watching the old Hulk in the 70s and 80s, the old TV show, I'm like, God, that's a lot of clothes to just rip through.
That's the thing. It's like all those poor seamstresses and everything else. It's like, man, go easy on your clothes. This takes me back to the suit that She-Hulk was given early on, that she could just kind of keep that expanded with her.
Well,
She
you
had-
can't. Yeah, you can't have her busting. through
Well,
like
but
the Hulk
that's
stuff,
that's
so.
that's a different story too. There are obviously other reasons he did that. So
Right.
yeah.
But yeah, I guess he's going to get a suit like that. And again, spoilers, the rumor going around, and I try not to talk too much about rumors so much, but there's the Hulk and Bruce Banner are going to come to an agreement And
I figured they should.
yeah, as far as it's my understanding we're going to see a lot of Hulk in Avengers 4,
Good.
which is good because we saw pretty much next to none
Yeah.
in 3. The War Machine concept art though, if that's legit, oh my
That
god,
looks great. That looks awesome.
that is nuts. I've been every once in a while chiming in about the Punisher.
Yeah, right.
They're oh my god, that story is going crazy, dude. It's been a little while. Do you want to sit down and Uncle Chris tell you a story about the Punisher War Machine?
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna prop right up.
Everybody sit around. Grab your little carton of milk and sit Indian style on the floor, and Uncle Chris to tell you a story about the Punisher War Machine. Everybody else tells stories about princesses and dragons, and I'll tell you about the maniac that goes around killing criminals in a giant suit of armor.
He's playing Anthem before we all get to.
No, the whole they spent almost 2 issues with him like running away from superheroes.
Right. I remember that.
There's actually a reason. There's a plot to this. Now again, they're after him because one, he's in the War Machine armor, even though Nick Fury originally gave it to him, he's long past being able. He should have returned it by now, and he's just like, I'm not returning this. Did you not understand that you gave the Punisher the War Machine armor? There were some great bits though where they're constantly after him. They constantly just missing him, but like he'll be sitting down eating for lunch, and the Spider-Man will show up, and it's like, yeah, no, his lunch is still warm and stuff, but he's gone now. But there's a reason for all this. One of my favorite parts of the whole thing is when they do finally meet up with him. It's like all of them. It's like 20 of them. It's like it's the Thing, it's Hawkeye, it's Spider-Man, it's Captain Marvel, it's all these people, and they're just like standing in front of me, and they're just like, give yourself up. What does the Punisher do in that situation? What do you think the Punisher does?
Guns blazing.
No, because he doesn't want to kill him.
Right.
He doesn't want to kill him, so he underhand throws a flash grenade at him.
There you go.
Just like, hey, get out of here. It's been great, but so what he's done though, and what he's trying to do, there's one point where he just like busts into the CIA headquarters in the War Machine armor. They're like shooting him and stuff. He just doesn't even care. And he's not trying to kill these people because they're not criminals.
Right.
So he busts into their computer system to find out. Now remember, he worked for Hydra during the whole thing. And he's trying, what he's really trying to do at this point is he's trying to get revenge for that. He's trying to redeem himself and get revenge from Hydra for everything that happened. So he goes into CIA headquarters. He downloads all the information they have about Hydra at this point.
Dang.
And so this gets nuts. So he just he goes after Hydra and finds Zemo, who has Taskmaster and Crossbones in their own kind of special suits. They're not quite Iron Man suits, but they're like upgraded suits. And so they're just fighting and shooting at each other. And he takes at one point he takes Taskmaster's sword and just starts cutting up Hydra people. The henchmen. It's nuts. But he's losing this fight, as well he should.
Right.
Eventually they get the better of him. And so the whole thing with the superheroes tracking him comes into play now because they catch up with him. And so in comes Black Widow and Hawkeye and who else? There's 2 others. Winter Soldier and she was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything. It's a blonde chick. She doesn't have superpowers. She's been around forever. The blonde chick she's got a character. His name is a bird. Mockingbird.
There you go.
Yep. So they show up, and so they help him with this, and of course the bad guys get away. But,
right.
The named ones, Taskmaster and Crossbones and Zemo, they get away, of course. But so the interesting thing is now the heroes have caught up with them. They've caught up with the Punisher.
Right.
And so they're like, all right, you got to give us a suit. You're lucky that we don't even, we're not going to take you in. You're lucky that you're even alive. Us saving you was what Hawkeye said. Us saving you was just kind of a nice fringe benefit to what we're doing here. And then the interesting thing about that is then, and if you don't know the whole story that happened with Captain America last summer and everything with the Hydra Captain America and all that, and this isn't going to make a lot of sense. So, but it was awesome that it happened. Black Widow just turns on all of them except for Punisher and Winter Soldier.
Black Widow style.
Yep, yeah, classic Black Widow style, and just knocks out Hawkeye and Mockingbird because she wants some serious revenge too. And Winter Soldier's just always up for killing motherfuckers. So, oh god, he dropped an F-bomb.
I'm gonna hand you the swear jar.
Damn it! But no, so it's like the three of them are after Hydra now.
Sweet. This
Dude,
is awesome.
This is awesome, and they don't even call it the Punisher War Machine anymore. They just call it the Punisher, which gives me the feeling that they're just going to let him keep this armor. It's so good. Yeah, I talk to friends who don't really follow Marvel Comics, but they know enough, and I've been telling them, yeah, the Punisher's, he's got the War Machine armor right now, and they're like, what? I'm like, I know, it's the best.
That's cool.
Best stuff going on right now.
That's really cool.
So that's the thing. That's the latest. Get you caught up on the Punisher with the War Machine armor, which is some of the best stuff going on in Marvel Comics right now.
Wow, thanks, Uncle Chris.
That's good. All right, you're good.
All right, that's like that'll do. All right,
that's all I got. The next issue's not out yet.
Oh man, have to wait for more or start actually reading it. But
I mean, it's been crazy though. Like he's gone from taking on communist countries to just blowing up like D-level supervillains in the streets of New York to going after Hydra. I mean, he just doesn't stop with his suit. He's like, I got this suit. I'm gonna, that's the one thing you gotta love about the Punisher. I mean, he doesn't. That's why it's so ridiculous that he's like fixing headlights and garbage disposal. Dude doesn't stop. He doesn't stop off the mission. And that's because he knows there's 10 billion criminals that need killing.
He's got to make things happen, man.
So that's what drove me so nuts about the Punisher TV shows. It's like, no, he's not stopping for that.
He didn't have time to stop by for Thanksgiving dinner.
Right. But it's great because that's the whole thing. Like that's the comic obviously has the proper temperament, and he's got the War Machine armor, so he's using it.
I dig. All the way. All right. Well, thank you. Cool stuff.
Yeah, no, I'll fill you in next time. The next one comes on. We'll keep this going until I'm sure they'll inevitably end this. They can't keep him in that.
No, they can't. Of course.
James Rhodes is alive again. So
he is.
He died a couple years ago in the Civil War II, and he's back. Tony Stark brought him back, along with himself. he died too. So it's comics.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, comic deaths.
I mean, Black Widow died in the thing last summer. She's around. Yeah, they all come back. But so I mean, it's and I've seen the cover art for the issue where Iron Man eventually does confront the Punisher, and so I mean, this is going to come to a head. So, and it's going to be awesome.
Awesome. Sweet.
It is, probably one of my favorite things about it is like because he doesn't know how. I mean, he knows how to use guns and stuff, but I mean, the Punisher's not used to having artillery like this,
right?
So he fumbles around with it a lot, but he's just so relentless it doesn't matter. It's like, okay, well, I screwed all this up, but I definitely blew that thing up. So. It's good stuff.
Just the thought alone, I just laugh at it. That seems like one of the most dangerous things you could do. Give him, of all people, something like that. Like,
right. I mean, whatever they were smoking the day over at Marvel when they thought of that, they need to smoke that stuff more because it's great.
Oh, sweet.
All right, we'll get back to our MCU news, but we got on the topic of War Machine, so
that's a welcome detour. That's a welcome detour. I'm totally cool with that. The other part of our MCU news, though, this goes over to Wasp, Ant-Man and the Wasp related news.
More potential spoilers.
Yes, just so you know. It's a recent interview with Evangeline Lilly. She made mention that her is playing the Wasp, and Captain Marvel will be seen in Avengers 4 in the last few scenes.
That's Well, and that says at least a few scenes, not the last the last few scenes. But,
Whoops. Read that too fast. Yeah.
yeah, that is actually big spoilers.
It is.
It's more of a confirmation, really, but yeah.
Cool. Cool.
Looking forward to it.
Oh yeah. But as always, Marvel has a way of. I think even if you sort of have a foreshadowing about what's coming, kind of like with Avengers, if you've read the comics, knowing about Thanos and everything, they still made a story that you knew or that you thought you knew and did it in such an epic way. So no complaints there. Another one here, Paul Rudd. He also let one of the after credit scenes slip in an interview. Now he stopped just before fully explaining the scene, but he did say how it ties in with the new movie with Avengers 3 and 4. So the deal here is apparently Ant-Man and the Wasp take place concurrently with everything that's been happening. So pretty much that means that we're going to see a lot of people get dusted by the end.
I think so. I think that's what that means, either at the end or in the after credit scenes, is that we're going to see them get dusted, or some people. I'm betting anyone, or if anyone of the main cast for Ant-Man is Michael Douglas, is going to get dusted. Maybe even Michelle Pfeiffer, even though that's kind of the whole thing with the films, that they go and get the original Wasp out of what do they call it? The quantum dimension or something.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So that that'll obviously drag them in. Not that Ant-Man needs much of a reason. He's just kind of seems up to be doing superhero stuff. So.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't want to say much more, but that's a pretty big spoiler.
Yeah, it is. And then on top of all that, the title for Avengers 4 possibly got leaked, but this probably isn't true. It's being said to be in-game. I agree.
That's dumb.
Doctor Strange said it, and you can leave that where it's at. You don't. No. So that probably doesn't have a whole lot of credit to it. I mean,
I hope not.
Same here. I mean, if it's called Avengers Hot Air Balloons, whatever, we're still going to go see it.
It's hot air balloons.
Jesus. Well, it's not going to stop people from seeing it, but
Avengers Delicious Spaghetti.
Hey, there you go. Now with mushroom.
No. No.
Couldn't help it. And finally, James Gunn. He recently revealed that the script for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, it's done. There's rumors that much, if not all, of this movie is going to take place before Avengers 3.
Right.
So.
You know what I would like to see out of that, because I've been hearing that rumor for a little while now, that it might be kind of a prequel situation. I don't like that. I don't think. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy got hit the most.
Yes, they did.
I mean, Rocket and Nebula was all that was left, and you almost can't even count Nebula.
Right.
So I mean, I think there's a lot of, most of them will probably come back, but I mean, there's a lot of story to be told, especially with Gamora getting killed in Infinity War.
Right.
I think it would be interesting if they did like a contrast thing where maybe part of the movie took place before and then part of it took place after.
Right.
Because it's such a dramatic change for the cast and just for what happened.
Right.
I think that would be interesting. But doing a prequel to 3, I mean, I trust MCU. I think they could do something interesting enough, but at the same time, it's like, well, yeah, but we know you all died.
Yeah.
Well, by that point, they will fix it, I'm sure. Though I'm still of the opinion that everyone who got dusted is coming back. So.
Same here. So, all right. No, I'm pretty much in the same boat. I'm really, especially for Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff. I think there's very little extra prequel hype or anything else that Avengers needs at this point. This is a juggernaut of its own, and it is much a very, very potent story that can stand on its own easily. And I think that can only properly be told once we see the next part of it. So I'm fine with just that, and the Guardians becoming whatever it is afterward. But oh well.
There's been a lot of talk that the movies are going to kind of follow what happened in the comics with a reoccurring shift of characters as well. Which I don't know. I kind of have mixed feelings about that, but because I like the cast so much.
Right. Right.
It's really good. I don't know. It's interesting. I would like the movie to move forward, not backwards. I think.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. That cans our Marvel news, good news. Now, we flip to the super drama side because there was some big time news about a not so secret meeting at Disney recently about none other than Star Wars. And Chris, I'm going to hand the mic to you for this one.
Oh, you want me to do this one like I did last week?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, go
right.
for it.
Gosh, this came out Monday too when we recorded last week's show. We did it a little late. I just missed all this though. All right, so yeah, this came from Grace Randolph, who has a YouTube channel called Beyond the Trailer. She has this exclusively from sources she has inside the studio. There was a big time, super huge meeting between like the heads of Lucasfilm, Pixar, and Marvel Studios. So I mean, that's
a big deal.
Yeah. Apparently and probably the people from Pixar and Marvel Studios did not have much to say. The meeting wasn't about them. It was about Lucasfilm. And it was about, and multiple sources that I've checked on this story have used the word shit show specifically.
Daggone.
As this was a meeting that Bob Iger, the head of Disney, was having basically about Star Wars and how it's a shit show and how he knows it's a shit show. He acknowledges there's big-time problems, especially with what happened with Solo, but beyond that, talking about the general consensus that seems to be building about, and it's done nothing but grow. As I said it would do half a year ago, the feeling, the negative feelings towards The Last Jedi and Star Wars would do nothing but grow.
Yep.
Merchandise is down big time. The games aren't doing well. The merchandise isn't selling. The movies aren't doing well. People don't like what's happening with it. This was in this meeting was, well, look, how do we fix this? It was acknowledged that he wants in this meeting that he actually wants to fire Kathleen Kennedy, but he hasn't because nobody wants her job.
Right.
A couple of reasons for this. In fact, it was even said that he had offered the job, Kathleen's job, to a J.J. Abrams who turned it down flat.
Yep.
And none, I guess not even any hesitation at all.
Right.
There's some reasons for this. One is that's a huge. Well, J.J. Abrams has said that after he actually wasn't going to do any more Star Wars movies. He rebooted Star Trek, he rebooted Star Wars, and he said he was done. He said he was done with the big franchises like that. So I understand why J.J. Abrams would turn it down. But other people, though, myself and many others have been saying Dave Filoni. Put Dave Filoni in there. He knows the franchise better than anyone else. I guess a big problem is that when Kathleen Kennedy took the spot, a bunch of people came in with her, and part of the problem within Lucasfilm and with the franchise right now is that there's constant infighting between her people and brand loyalists.
That's terrible.
That's probably one of the worst things that I'm finding out about all this is like Kathleen Kennedy has done some pretty stupid stuff. There was a comment that she said that she doesn't owe the previous fans of Star Wars anything. Specifically, she said the guys, the male fans. The whole thing when she went out, I think she was on some red carpet or something, and her and a bunch of her staff were wearing shirts that said "The Force is female."
Oh Lord,
stuff like that. I've mentioned from time to time that, because a lot of people pointed to social justice warrior stuff.
Right.
A lot of this is behind the scenes. It doesn't show up too much in the films. It doesn't show up to the point where there's a couple things like, a lot of people point to Rose Tico in The Last Jedi. It's like, what's this? There's nothing wrong with having a Korean character.
Oh, sure.
Right. There's nothing wrong with it. And nobody has a problem with Finn. No one has a problem with Poe.
No, them either. Because this is one good thing Star Wars does. It's set in such a way that it is a galactic story, rather than a planetary story. And
Right.
when you get that large, you kind of transcend gender, race, things
Right.
like that. You just
Right.
sort of expect those things to mingle without much thought. So,
Yeah, no one has a problem with the concept of Rey. People have a problem with how the character's played out,
right.
but no one has a problem with, the newest, big Jedi hero being a woman. No one has a problem with any of these things.
No, no.
But it's Rose. People have a problem with Rose,
Hmm.
and that's because Rose is and I agree when they say this, Rose is pretty much unnecessary.
Hmm.
Um, it's the whole thing with Cantle Bite was ridiculous. Um, yeah, but at the same time, that's a bit too heated. But a lot of the SJW stuff that they're talking about is stuff that's happening behind the scenes, and they feel that there's an agenda that's being pushed on them that they don't want to see. And to an extent, I see it, and I don't disagree with either side. For those who are upset about it, I understand it, and I agree that it's having more of an effect than it ever should. At the same time, when I got to be honest, when I think about it, Kathleen Kennedy is hiring people that are pushing an agenda into this film. That being said, George Lucas did the same thing 40 years ago.
Right.
It was just the issues here is that these agendas, so to speak, George Lucas has sold and has made billions and billions of dollars.
Yep.
It's because that's what a lot of people wanted, and he's not hurting anyone. He's not saying well, only men can be heroes. He's obviously not saying that. If you look at Leia,
sure,
or that you have to be a certain race or gender. No, but it is a predominantly male. Your hero is Luke.
Sure.
Your Han Solo's the guy. You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm with you.
You're right. This is just it was geared towards the audience who would enjoy the movie. It was obviously his agenda, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right. Right.
No one's trying to push or hold anyone down.
Right.
And the feel is that in some cases with Kathleen Kennedy's regime is that maybe that is happening a bit with these new movies. And to be honest, it's hard not to come to that conclusion to some extent when looking at what they did with Luke.
Yeah, the concern here, anytime you have any sort of loyalist or regime, or even, see, that term alone just disturbs me, that you would come into such a large group but still claim a subgroup, I have loyalty to this. That's friction waiting to happen, waiting to occur and sort of muddy the waters. You would think with property as large as Star Wars that you have this meeting of minds to come together and expand all this content, expand all these worlds that have been created into an experience. Rather who has an agenda or whatever else, or just a theme or message you want to push. As you said, those things can be done, but if you do so and you're clashing creatively to that point, or making an environment where it's hard to create, that's dangerous.
Right. So again, going to the concept of the character Rey, which actually started as brother and sister, I think even twins, was the original concept with what turned out to be Rey and Kylo Ren. But I think after 6 movies, where your heroes were Luke and Anakin in large part, and also it's definitely an argument for Obi-Wan, that to switch things up just for the sake of switching up the stories and giving a different perspective, a character like Rey not only was, I think, a good idea, I think it was an appropriate idea.
Same.
And no one has a problem with that. The fact that they've made her such a perfect character, a Mary Sue, as many people say, that's been a lot of people's issue. I think that's a minor issue, but I see it, and I don't disagree. No one cares about Poe and Finn, and I mean these have been good characters.
Sure.
Poe's one of my favorite new characters.
He rocks.
I was thrilled that they didn't kill him like they were initially going to. He was going to die early on in The Force Awakens.
Oh, forget that noise.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just all right. So stop with that shit. You've got to focus. I mean, look, this. At the end of the day, you're here to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
All right, and people want great stories. It's like when you're a
Yeah.
kid. It's like when you're a kid, you have no idea that the cartoons you're watching are actually made for you to go buy toys.
Right.
You
Right.
think that you're watching stories that somebody, put a lot of heart and soul in, and maybe they did,
Right.
but the concept was not to entertain you. The concept was for you to like this and want to buy 6-inch action figures about it. But at the same time, that's also the concept for Star Wars.
Right.
In part, merchandise, sell the merchandise. The mockery of the Rose Tico action figures, and how many there have been, and how many, like, you can go anywhere and find Rose Ticos, like, everywhere. Like Rose, not to mention Star Wars stuff in general, because it's just not selling like they planned
Right.
on.
Right.
But that's part of the deal here. While I definitely think Star Wars, they weren't wrong that you can expand past the male dominated audience that is Star Wars. You can expand on it, but you don't replace it.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
that's your bread and butter all day long. You can put a turd in a box and call it Star Wars, and you're fine as long as you're hitting that audience. People will buy that turd in a box. But if you're upsetting that audience,
Yeah.
and you're telling them that you don't owe them anything,
Yeah.
I mean, what are you doing?
I think they'd say differently.
Well, then they're telling them differently.
Yes, they are, and they're speaking the loudest way a fan base can. They're speaking with their pocket,
Right.
and that is what an entertainment group is going to understand more than anything at the end of the day. And this shows the power of a fan base, And there's some big questions here if they're going to hold out, if they're going to hold this blockade. I'm looking at 2019 here.
Right.
You
right.
got
I've kind of gone off the trail here a little bit.
Yeah, man, but you're looking at the Star Wars celebration. You got the theme parks are going to be opening.
Yep.
You got Episode 9
all next year.
All next year. All's happening. And honestly, with the rising sentiment that it's not just Episode 9 alone that it's going to take to right this ship and really help, undo some of this damage and, keep fans engaged, like for years to come. It's a real question. And the fans have a lot of pulling power in this. If they hold out, if they hold this through next year, there's going to be some apocalyptic level damage done.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, Kathleen Kennedy, I think I mentioned this earlier. Again, J.J. Abrams has complete control over
Right.
Episode 9, which
Right.
no one's had so far for any of these movies. In fact, she's stuck her nose in, good or for bad.
Right.
She's stuck her nose in all of them, but he has complete control. And I think that has more to do with the fact that Bob Iger probably said, "Let him do this," because I wanted him to take your goddamn job anyways. so you're gonna let J.J. Abrams do what he's gonna do. That could be good. That could be bad.
Yeah.
There wasn't. While there was definitely a lot of new and exciting things in the Force Awakens, creative plot was not one of them.
Right.
I mean, it was a mirror image of Episode 4.
Right. And
We'll see.
Yeah, and it could easily afford to do what it did as sort of that reignition
Right.
for Star Wars. People were fine with that, but it's the rest and the cascade that's the big question. So, man.
Yeah.
But hey, for once, I'm very interested to see a fan base truly unite and really make it known what they want or what they do not like in these movies. You don't. This is, for me at least, this is rare to see that kind of solidarity.
No, yeah, this whole scenario is nuts. I mean, we're in unknown territory here. So
we are. So.
And that's been part of the question was, if the fans boycott Solo, what's going to happen? Well, we saw it.
Yep.
And like I said, I think last week, and what I've been saying about it is, like, now the fans, they see the control and the power they have in this situation. Yep. And so what you saw with Solo is just the beginning.
Yep.
Finally, on that topic, on the topic Solo, it was again said that the anthology movies have been put on indefinite hold. There might be an exception for the Obi-Wan movie, but there's also talk within Lucasfilm that they don't want to do it because they're worried they're going to screw it up.
Scared.
Yeah, I don't blame them for that because, I mean, look at what they did with the other awesome Jedi that everybody loves.
Yeah.
I don't want them to do it.
Yeah.
Leave it alone. Get this shit in order.
Leave Obi-Wan alone.
Right.
Leave him out of this.
Alone right now. I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they didn't do, because there was some talk was that they should have done Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah, no one wanted a solo film. Dude, I don't remember him. You know what I want?
Han Solo.
I want Han Solo. I want a prequel Han Solo. No one asked for that ever. I mean, that right there shows you, in looking back in hindsight, the disconnect.
Yeah.
That, let alone, no one's getting a trilogy of that. We're not going to see what happens with that. We saw Darth Maul and that was cute. We're not going to see anything more from that. There might be a book,
right?
But Darth Maul's story has already been told anyway. So
get back in touch. Theme of the day. All right, we'll follow it.
Get better.
Get better. Not get good. Get better.
Better.
Because you're already good. You're already good. You got the resources to do whatever you want. So
that's my word of the day. Better.
All right. Well, with that, I'm going to spin it over to gaming. We do have some news here from some acquisitions to some people who've stepped up into some big-time roles, and of course, a little bit about games themselves. First one I want to talk about, though, is an acquisition by Treon Worlds. Now, they acquired Gazillion Entertainment. And if you don't remember Gazillion Entertainment for exactly what they did, they're an MMO creator. Mainly now they're responsible for some of the games like Marvel Heroes. If you played that, or that was, I don't remember when that was out.
Yeah.
But last year, late last year, it lost the Disney license. So Gazillion themselves, they shut down. This is during November. And
I remember hearing about that. I think we talked about that.
We did briefly, and they've sort of been suspended, kind of floating status since. But Treon came by and said, "Hey, we'll take that," and did it. Cool. Now, did you ever play? I didn't, but did you ever play Marvel Heroes?
No. I thought about it, but yeah, I've been staying away from MMOs.
Yeah, no, probably wise. Saves your time too.
I did that for several years. I bought World of Warcraft Legion. It's been sitting there for months.
I was about to say, how long has that expansion been out?
It's about over. The new one's going to start here in August.
Okay, here comes another one. Sweet.
Yeah, so it's just sitting there. I probably won't even ever install it. I don't know. Maybe at some point I'll connect it with my Blizzard account, but
cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably never play again. Part of me wants to play, but it's like, I really don't want to get all that.
Nah, hey, I'm with you. So, but yeah, Treon themselves, they aren't pushovers. This is a publisher responsible for the likes of Rift. So it's kind of interesting that you got picking up a licensures like this, that you have another group coming into them to create something else large, but good. I think the whole point was not to leave this stagnant too long. In fact, their CEO, the Treon CEO, Scott Hartzman, he'd made a statement that, quote, crunch and burn and layoff is unhealthy. We try to do things about it, and we want to be a good member of the gaming ecology. We keep trying to do things to help other devs. So, I think that says it in a nutshell.
I don't know what the hell that said.
Well, okay, he doesn't like the idea of indefinite layoffs.
Well, no one does.
Right, and he wants to do something about that and help the gaming ecology, e.g., let's get some of those creative minds that are just sitting on the sidelines because of this loss, let's get them back in the game.
Yeah. All right.
I think he's on the right track.
Sure. No, I mean that's a good mission statement.
Yeah. So, on to Nintendo. Now, I say this, I promise there have not been any firings, but this is something that I actually didn't know that was happening internally within Nintendo. Now, this is important. Nintendo finally has a brand new, this is their 6th president. That's Mr. Shuntaro Furukawa. He has recently stepped up to take this role. Now, Furukawa himself, he's been with Nintendo a good while. He's been in since 1994. He helped with the development of the Switch, and he was unanimously nominated into this role to take over as the president of Nintendo and also representative director. Now, reason why this is important, the the fourth president of Nintendo, when he passed away, I mean, that was about in 2015. He died, and Tatsumi Kimishima took over from 2015 all the way up until now. Now, Kimishima had been a huge part of the launch of the Switch, and but was also really interested, getting into more like the film aspects of Nintendo and things like that. So this had been a temporary holdover for the last 3 years. They'd never actually officially made that move, but now they have. And really, this is someone who, it seems just like the rest of Nintendo staff, keeps right in line with their whole ethos, with their whole methodology. A bit after he got elected, Nintendo had this thing called a CSR report. It's a corporate social responsibility. As soon as that report came out, Furukawa he stepped up and made a statement. He said, "Here at Nintendo, our mission statement is to increase the amount of people that experience our IPs. It's my belief that the more people touched by our characters and game philosophy we cultivate here, the more valuable the company becomes. Through our products and services, our company seeks to expand that ring of smiling faces around the world. It's our duty."
They need to stop being buttheads to YouTube videos then.
Yes, they should. See, that's the irony. Nintendo want to maximize their IPs as much as they can, which they do. I think well. They want to push games that are recognizable to fans and everything like that. But what they sort of miss out in doing that pushes off, and they miss out on the fan base itself. They're so paranoid often about their own presence and what's shown and what's not being shown. Like I said, years back, they almost missed out on the whole fighting game community. Smash would not have been what it is now if they stayed in that paranoid corner. So, that's the thing. But I think it's only so much that they can do. It's funny, Nintendo always managed to kind of carve out a little section for themselves, no matter how intense the console battle's going. So, new leadership.
Good on you.
Yep. So
quit being a butthead.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, by the way, side note for Nintendo, the re-release of the NES Mini happened yesterday.
Aha!
I just did a quick little run on a few websites. I did not see any NES Minis up for $59.99.
There you have it.
Now, maybe they're not selling them online. Maybe I'm gonna have to go to a store.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'll be heading to the store again here in the next few days. So we'll see.
Enough.
We'll see if I have an NES Mini next week.
All right. I hope you do.
I do too.
You've been after this thing.
It's been almost 2 years.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. Good deal. Last but not least, it's a piece about a specific game itself, and this is a game that was so demanded that it actually created its own Kickstarter to get the third game that people have been wanting, and this is Shenmue. Now, Shenmue 1 and 2 were really well received, especially Shenmue 1. And I think back to the days of Dreamcast games.
I was going to say, that was like an old Dreamcast game.
It sure was. This was, for its time, especially when this first hit, this was pretty epic. What it did with its storytelling and for having all the beat 'em up elements and stuff. This was a really big game, and it's still got a really big fan base. Well, there's some funny news about Shenmue 3 that came out just this week. Now the project's already been pushed back a couple of times. It's already been delayed. We just know it's 2019. It's going to be in the way. But some system specs came out, and this is a monster. This is going to require 100 gigs of space for the PC release. And I want you just to put that side by side a minute. Something huge in its open world is Witcher 3. Okay, it's a massive game. Witcher 3 is less than half of that. And that makes Witcher 3 look like I lean to the heavyweight category. I mean, that's only 45 gigs. So, you look at that, and one of my immediate questions, and this was actually, I think, a general question out there, is how are the in-game assets actually being optimized to bloat like that? To
Right.
make such a crazy, huge deliverable. I mean, good lord, you normally don't
Is
plan
this
on
PC only?
It's PC. Let me see if it's on another system. I'm actually not sure.
By the way,
because
for more perspective on that, I think the last time I did have WoW on my computer, when I looked at the file size, I think it was something like 70 gigs.
see, oh, good, wow, wow.
Yeah, and I mean that's a game that had been around at that point over 10 years.
Yeah, so there's something up here. But your question, this is going to be in PS4 as well, PS4 and PC.
Okay.
So
And WoW is infamous for taking up a ridiculous amount of file space. So yeah, 100 gigs, that's kind of dumb.
But hey, the project itself has been really popular since it's being pushed, since it's got its start on the Kickstarter for it. It's got over 69,000 backers. Over $6.3 million have been pledged for this. It has no shortage of support. But there is a bit of a laugh out there that you can combine Witcher 3 and Skyrim, and this is still bigger as far as the requirements. So just crazy. Whatever it is, I hope that straightens out, if at all. It probably won't. I mean, that's probably the last spec I expect that we're actually going to get for this. But, oh well, what are you going to do? So, who knows?
All right.
Other than that, though, there's still some fairly beefy requirements as far as what you're actually running. I mean, you need, well, I guess compared to today, I mean, most people have i6s or i7s, or I mean, a minimum i5, 3.4 gigs, 4 gigs of RAM, and at least like a GTX 650. So a lot of your systems out there these days, you're going to meet those specs, especially if you've customized something. I'm sure you're fine. So, yeah, but that is all I've got on gaming. That's all we got on Marvel. I think it's time for an info minute. Storks and cell phone bills.
Oh boy, we're starting off weird.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what does that say to you? But I'm not even going to try.
I nothing. That says nothing to me. I don't. Tell me, Ian. How do they go together?
This info minute has everything to do with a Polish charity company that got a ridiculous phone bill thanks to a stork. So the company itself, they're called a broadcaster. They're Radio Poland. This is kind of like an environmental ecological group, and they place the bird trackers. You've seen this on National Geographic and stuff. You get the huge sweeping images, and you got like either a tracker to help follow bird migration patterns, or those really small cameras that give you the crazy panoramic views. Anyway, there's a stork. There was a tracker that got placed on a stork when migration patterns were being watched sometime last year, or middle of 2017. But anyway, they watched where this thing traveled. It was something about 3,700 miles, and it was traced all the way to the Blue Nile Valley in eastern Sudan, and then the charity lost contact with it. So later on, it was told, it came through a newspaper that somebody found the tracker in Sudan, and it turned out when they actually found it, it had ran up at least 20 hours worth of phone calls. So, what? And here's why. Even though this was just stork tagging because it's got a little micro GPS in it that can be used for transmitting. The bird squawking and everything actually ended up setting the encoding signal to start for sound, for active audio, and that just sort of opened a channel and just started running up a tab. In fact, it ran up a tab of over 10,000 Polish zloty, and if you convert it, that's about $2,700, or a bit over 2,000 pounds, which they're going to have to pay now.
That's stupid.
Yeah, it is stupid.
Why would you? Oh my gosh! I don't want to make Polish jokes. I really don't. I'm not gonna. But I think the fact that I even said that is enough.
This is why I chuckled coming across this. Is just one of those setups that why would you make this a thing that this could double back on you like this?
Or at least why would you put that on there and not give it have an option to turn it off? I get it. You might want some live sound. You might want to, get some audio going there. But why would you leave it at activation for the bird by voice, by audio?
2K phone bill. Over 2K.
God.
Oh well.
They better put that stuff on the internet. That better be open source. Everybody should share it.
Amen to that.
Jeez, that's a shame.
So
yeah, that's dumb.
Well, before we wrap up, before we end,
Yeah.
we normally stop on this note. The Info Minute doesn't stop here this week. I'm pushing it a step further. Specifically with the first ever Info Intensify. I just like the sound of Info Intensify.
Oh my god!
It's a simple concept. We don't just, instead of expanding the article, there's another piece of news I want to bring you of something just random, wacky, and otherwise extraordinary. And for the Intensify fact of the day, that is our insane cheese surplus right now here in the U.S. We got a record high stockpile of cheese at 1.385 billion pounds.
Yum.
This is the highest we've had in more than 100 years. This is according to the U.S. State Department of Agriculture. And yeah, this is a record since 1917, I think, even way higher than what we had back then. And if you've been keeping up with some of what's been happening, with what's happening with farmers and dairy farmers, it's really because we just have an insane stock of natural cheese here, not pushing that out of the U.S. and not exporting it. We got too much milk on hand for our processors, and then the milk just gets stored easily as cheese and just put in cold storage. So, shoot, combine that with productive cows, and well, you got a story.
Well, yeah, but that milk's gonna go bad.
Yeah, it's gonna suck, right?
Get your cereal, and just change up your diet here for a little bit. You can't be wasting milk like that.
Special K, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Captain Crunch, whatever you do it.
That was your favorite, right? Captain Crunch when you were a kid?
Oh man, I love Captain Crunch.
Yeah.
I really like, especially Peanut Butter Crunch when that came out, and then Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I like both.
But you'll never guess what my favorite cereal was when I was a kid.
I probably won't, but I'm gonna take a swing at it. Cookie Crisp?
Nope.
What was it?
Oh, you gotta take one more guess.
Okay. Fruity Pebbles.
My God, you're way off.
How should I know?
Kellogg's Raisin Bran.
How should I know that?
No, you won't know it. That's why it's funny.
with your man. I wouldn't guess that.
With my diet, which consists mainly of cookies.
Yeah, with how you eat, I wouldn't think. I wouldn't think. You got me.
Kellogg's Raisin Bran.
What happened, man?
What do you mean what happened? I still like Kellogg's Raisin Bran.
You still like Raisin Bran?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Thought it was just a phase.
No.
All right.
Yeah, my childhood.
Yeah, it was just a phase.
No, I still like it. Yeah, but hey, gosh, get to using that milk.
Yeah.
That's and hey, lower the price of cheese then.
Yeah, right.
Cheese is a little expensive.
It is. Now you know they've got, so if you try to get ripped off on Gouda or whatever you go buy, don't take that.
That's right.
So, but alrighty. That is going to do it for us. Thank you all for tuning in. Again, of course, stay locked right here for our upcoming show reviews, movie reviews, and everything else we've got lined up. We're going to have some more looking at Cloak and Dagger coming up, the most recent episode that we had. Also, going to have some more coming down the pike gaming front. And it's going to be another busy month for movies. And
two movies this week.
Two big ones.
Isaac's coming back. Him and I will be reviewing the first Purge.
Right on.
And then this coming Friday, Ant-Man and the Wasp.
More MCU. Woo!
The latest installment. And that'll be the last one for a while.
Yeah.
March.
Yeah.
So, gosh, I hope you like it. I hope I like it, too, because we're not going to see one for a long time.
Oh, man. But no, yes, hey, stay tuned for all of it. We'll be right here. And, of course, we hope you like us as well. Hey,
I don't care so much.
Throw us a comment. I want at least a comment. Well, hey, tell us if you hate it or whatever, too. I want to hear that, too.
No, I do. I very much need your likes. So please like and subscribe, and or if you want me to go away, tell me to go away.
Right on. All right, till next time, people, take it easy. Have a good one. Hey people, thank you for tuning into this episode and taking a listen. If you like our content, if you like what you're listening to, is there anything to go over, hey, please, we would not only love to hear more from you, but if great if you could throw some support. You can subscribe right below. Also, you can toss us a line anytime. That's ksongmedia@gmail.com. Of course, you can tune in for our channel anytime for movie reviews, game reviews, a lot of random wacky stuff. Who knows what you'll hear. And of course, our episode each week where we're bringing the nerdiest things we can find, dig up, and maybe not find. Maybe the stuff that just drops in our laps. But anyway, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We hope to hear from you again later. Take care.